Hello. Ang didiscuss natin ngayon sa video na ito is the principle of designs. So, under pa rin ito ng Chapter 3, Elements of Visual Art, at ito ang Part 5. So, pag sinabi nating principle of design, ito yung overall visual structure of a work of art. Okay? It means by which the artist make comprehensible the ideas they wish to express and communicate. So, parang gumagawa sila ng set of structure or may sinusunod silang set of structure na kung saan mas magiging pleasing sa mata yung kanilang art. Okay? Ang tawag dito ay principle of design. Design makes our environment more readily comprehensible. The design of an object makes it what it is at the same time that it is made interesting and stimulating. So obviously, ang dalawang pictures na nakikita nyo sa right side is meron silang principle of design na sinusunod. Kaya very pleasing sa mata natin. Okay, ano-ano ba ang mga ito? Ang una dito is harmony. Harmony refers to the adaptation of the visual elements to each other, the agreement between the parts of a composition which results in unity. Harmony is also achieved by repetition of characteristics which are similar in nature, such as shape, size, and color. So obviously, harmony refers to the visual agreement. Okay? Na madalas doon masasabi nating may harmony ang isang bagay kung meron siyang nire-repeat. Okay, kasi actually sa harmony dito, hindi lang siya about repetition eh. It's also about the difference eh. Kasi obviously, pag too many harmony or merong too many repetitions isang work of art is nagiging monotonous siya or nawawalan, parang masyado na siyang bland or parang alam mo na parang sa panlasan pagkain natin matabang. Okay? So, tingnan natin dito yung picture na nasa right side. Three-part harmony by Mark Hartung. Okay? Obviously, it is harmonious. In a way, according to the definition, meron siyang kasing repetition. Yun nga yung two apples na sa baba at yung fork ay nakastick pataas. Okay? Pero what makes this harmonious as well is hindi lang kasi sa similar nature eh. Okay? Itong actually yung number 2 when it comes to principle of design. What makes this picture also harmonious is because variety. Okay? Harmony is achieved through repetition. However, too much repetition can easily result in monotony. So, paulit-ulit lang siya. Hence, the principle of this variety needed to prevent this. Variety is the use of a quality or an element which contrasts or is slightly different from those that surround it. Prevents sameness. Obviously, ang variety dito is the color of the background, yung blue, green, and yellow, at yung apple na kung saan nasa taas at nakastick yung fork sa baba. If a shape is repeated, variety in size can prevent uniformity to make differences dramatic. A contrasting quality may be introduced or changed in color. So obviously may variety na ito. So actually ang variety ay ang harmony and variety should work together. Okay? Not too much variety and not too much harmony. Obviously, pag too much harmony, paulit-ulit. Too much variety, walang sense of unity. Okay? Another principle of design. Rhythm. Rhythm is a continuance or a flow or a feeling of movement achieved by repetition of regular visual units. So parang ito ay harmony, kasi harmony is repetition, right? Pero dito nilalagyan mo na ng onting twist. So parang pinaghalo mo na dito kasi yung variety and harmony eh. That creates rhythm. Ang pinagkaiba lang rhythm sa variety is that rhythm is same na same siya, exact siya, okay, pero nilalagyan mo lang ng onting halimbawa distance. Okay, or nilalagyan mo lang ng nililipat mo lang sa ibang pwesto yung same exact picture na ginagamit mo sa harmony. Sa variety kasi babaguhin mo yung kulay, babaguhin mo yung same image siya pero halimbawa i-twist mo siya. Sa rhythm is same repetition pero nilalagyan mo na siya ng parang onting movement. Okay? So example dito, Jose Clementes Orozco's Zapatistas. Okay, obviously, kung nakikita niyo yung cursor ko, is yung tatlong magi na kulay pula na ito is repetition siya, um, pero binibigyan siya ng rhythm is by putting a distance here. Okay, so may harmony ito, pero kung mapapansin niyo rin, is meron din siyang variety, which is nandito sa nasa right side ng tatlong magi na ito, may variety siya at the same time dito sa taas. So this picture shows rhythm, harmony, and repetition. And variety. Okay, another example is full metal alchemist transmutation circle. Obviously, may repetition ito, pero what makes this very different what makes this a rhythm is because nilipat mo sa ibang lugar yung same exact um, picture dito. Halimbawa nito is itong nasa gilid na ito, yung parang semicircle na ito, yung fan. Okay, is inulit mo siya 3 beses pero hindi siya masakit sa mata o 'di ba or di too much variety kasi equal lang ang pagkakalagay natin. Okay, meron siyang variety obviously at meron siyang harmony, may ni-repeat ka pero may sense of rhythm siya kasi despite of this harmonious or this repetition is nilagyan mo siya ng sense of movement. Okay? Another thing when it comes to the principle of design is the proportion. Pag sinabi nating proportion, proportion deals with the ratio of one part to another and of the parts of the whole. Okay? Ratio implies a comparison between parts. Actually, this is very important when it comes to um, mga sculpture or architecture. Okay, it's very important din sa painting pero mas madalas ang proportion ay very obvious when it comes to sculpture. Okay, proportion is expressed in size, number, and position. Having good proportions gives harmony in the art. So, pag maganda yung proportionality, halimbawa, yung laki nito at ang liit nito ay parang hindi too big at hindi too small, maganda yung dating. Okay, pag sobrang naman laki ng isa at sobrang liit ng isa, natatabunan ng malaking art ang smaller art. So, dapat pantay lang ito. Parang binibigyan natin ng equal quality. We also have to take note na meron siyang bigness and smallness is dapat meron ding magandang distance ang dalawang ito. Kasi pag dinikit mo ng napakalapit ang malaking art sa smaller art, is obviously matatabunan siya. Pero by giving them equal, enough distance, okay, um, despite mas maliit yung isa at isa mas malaki, pero sa certain distance ang binigay mo dito is mapapansin mo pa rin na harmonious ito or maganda ang proportionality nito. We have to take note the principle of design is hindi lang siya isa-isa ha. Actually, lahat ng sinasabi kong points ay interlapping or lahat sila nag-work at the same time to make a beautiful piece of art or a very pleasing piece of art. Okay, so example po dito ng proportionality is the UP ablation. Actually, ang UP ablation is not a good example. Actually, ito yung sinabi ko sa inyo last time, 'di ba? Sa sculpture, dapat magandang tingnan natin yung space na kung saan siya ilalagay. Kasi part ito ng sculpture, 'di ba? What makes a sculpture is of course yung space na kinukuha ng sculpture, yung mismong object at yung mismong nasa surrounding it niya. So if you place this sculpture very near and a very big object opposite to it, is natatabunan siya. Kaya ito ang nangyari sa UP ablation. Hindi maganda ang proportionality nito kasi natatabunan yung UP ablation, okay, ng malaking building sa likod. Diba ito yung sinabi ko sa inyo din last video is kapag dumadaan ka sa UP, okay, sa UP campus is hindi mo makikita ang UP ablation unlike sa PUP obelisk na very obvious na ito yung parang main landmark niya. Okay, dito sa UP ablation, dapat ang main landmark nila doon is the UP ablation itself, pero kasi nilagyan nila ng malaking structure sa likod na tabunan ang UP ablation. So instead of finding the UP ablation as their landmark, nakikita natin ang malaking building sa likod, making it disproportionate. Nabubulol na ako. Ang magandang example po ng proportion piece of art is obviously the PUP obelisk natin kasi maganda ang distance ng PUP obelisk sa main building natin or sa north wing natin. Maganda din ang distance ng PUP obelisk sa ating intrams. Ano ba yun? Wall natin. Kalimutan ko to intramurals. Oo, tama. Oh, intramurals. Parang laro yan ah. Anyways, kalimutan ko ang pangalan nun. Anyways, ayun, magandang example yun ng proportion. Another good example is the Pyramid of Giza. Okay? Yung Pyramid of Giza, di ba tatlong pyramid siya at meron siyang mga malalaking sculpture or structures na nasa paligid ito. By giving them enough distance to each other, hindi natatabunan ng Great Pyramid of Giza yung ibang pyramids na nakapaligid sa kanya at mga smaller structures. Okay? So, parang binibigyan ng ng um ng landscapist or land artist yung mga viewers to appreciate each other by giving it enough distance to one another. Okay? Proportion ang tawag natin dito. Emphasis and subordination. Another principle of design. Pag sinabi nating emphasis and subordination are the principles that concern giving of proper importance to parts and to the whole. It involves the differentiation between the more important and the less important by focus it in the art. Okay? So, dito sa emphasis and subordination is obviously sa art kasi marami kang gustong ilagay. 'Di ba? So, obviously, halimbawa, pag magpipaint ka ng isang tao, 'di ba pangkat naman kung plain white lang ang background niya. You have to put something on the background to put, 'di ba, bigyan din ng onting kulay, 'di ba? Parang yun yung sinasabi nila. Bigyan nila ng onting kulay or bigyan natin ng onting kulay ang ating painting halimbawa. 'Di ba? Pag nag-drawing ka ng bahay, 'di ba hindi lang basta't bahay ang drawing mo, dapat may puno, dapat may plants, dapat may sun at clouds. Okay? Dito mag-work ang emphasis and subordination. By sinabi nating emphasis and subordination is bibigyan mo ng emphasis yung pinaka-subject mo, okay? At bibigyan mo ng subordination yung mga nakapaligid dito. Kaya for short, kapag titingnan natin isang work of art, halimbawa painting, alam mo agad yung unang titingnan mo, o kaya pinaka-main subject, okay? At titingnan natin yung nasa paligid niya that's supporting the main subject or parang supporting cast sa main protagonist. Okay? So, example po dito is the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, the emphasis here is Jesus Christ. Okay, obviously, baka siya naging obvious because of the good way of subordination used by Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, kung papansin nyo is merong certain distance ang disciples at mga visitors ni Jesus sa kanya. Okay, parang nagkakaroon tayo ng tawag doon V-shape. Kung titingnan nyo, parang medyo may pagka V-shape sa gitna. So, dito lahat, um, parang siya yung nasa center. At the same time, halos lahat ng mga nasa paligid sa kanya, it's either nakatingin sa kanya or nakapoint kay Jesus. So, hence, making it a good subordination. Pero, nasa isang work of art lang sila. The emphasis is Jesus Christ and the subordination ay nakapaligid sa kanya. Okay, even the background itself give emphasis and subordination to Jesus Christ. Paano paraan? By not putting too much detail sa background. 'Di ba nilagyan lang nila ng shadow? Okay, tapos nilagyan niya na parang linear perspective ito. At alam naman natin ang linear perspective na discuss natin on our previous video. Ang linear perspective, ang focal point nito ay ang middle. Hence, by putting Jesus Christ in the middle of the linear perspective, giving Jesus Christ the emphasis itself. Okay? Another magandang example then is a very simple way of putting emphasis and subordination is a portrait. Okay? A portrait obviously here is Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci, the same artist. Okay? So obviously, napakadali nang tingnan natin ang emphasis dito, which is Mona Lisa herself. Pero actually, ang maganda rin dito is despite na isa lang yung subject natin at obvious ang emphasis, merong subordination din na nilagay dito si Leonardo da Vinci. By putting a not too much design on the background na kung saan matatabunan si Mona Lisa. Okay, and also placing Mona Lisa in a semi-middle or semi-centered place on the work of art. Okay, obviously dito napakadali lang kasi nasa middle siya at not putting too much design on the background and not also putting too much design on Mona Lisa's dress. Kasi obviously, kapag sobrang daming um, ornament sa damit ni Mona Lisa, hindi mo na alam kung anong titingnan mo, si Mona Lisa ba or ang damit niya. Okay, so maganda dito ang emphasis and subordination ni Leonardo da Vinci. And accordingly, meron tayong dalawang uri ng emphasis and subordination. Meron tayong single unit. It is a form of emphasis and subordination that an element, that an element may stand by itself. Obviously, Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci is a single unit. Two or more units, another type of emphasis and subordination, when one more objects are depicted, wherein the large ones may have more importance than the others. It also shows that important objects may be made to appear closer to us than the less important element. Okay, so dito is, although I cannot say na the Last Supper is pasok dito sa mismong um, exact definition na binigay dito, pero pasok ang two or more units dito sa Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. Kasi meron two or more units na nasa painting, pero si Jesus Christ ang emphasis. Pero not necessarily, or siguro may somewhat bigger si Jesus sa painting. I'm not quite sure eh. Okay? Kung much bigger sa inyo, can you just call it out for me? Okay. Ang magandang example po ng two or more units is here the Tinikling. Okay? So, obviously, ang emphasis niya is yung dalawang sumasayaw. Okay? Kasi sila ang mas malaki, obviously, here. At hindi binibigyan ng so much detail yung nasa paligid. Kung meron man, kung papansin nyo, ang pinakamatingkad na kulay na binigay ay doon sa mismong female dancer. Diba? Red. Diba? Alam naman natin, sinabi ko sa red, ang red ang pinakamabilis na wave of light na pumapasok sa eyes natin. So, pag tinignan natin siya, ito agad ang una nating makikita. Okay? And also, meanwhile naman, ibang kulay na less value or intensity sa red is mas mabagal ang pasok sa ating mata, kaya mas less ang parang emphasis na mabibigay dito sa atin. Hence, si Fernando Amorsolo, maganda ang kanyang pagkakadepikto dito kasi obviously, gumamit siya ng sense of emphasis or size dito sa dalawang dancers. Okay, maganda din ang kanyang emphasis dito kasi sila lang ang nakatayo. Kung meron man nakatayo ay hindi sila nasa centerpiece ng artwork. At the same time is maganda din ginamit ng Fernando Amorsolo is by using colors. Okay? At the same time is hindi gaano madetalye ang paligid. 'Di ba? Isipin niyo na lang kung merong malaking kalabaw sa likod. 'Di ba? Nasa gitna siya dito. Ayan, kung nakikita niyo yung cursor ko, nasa gitna siya dito. So, nasa taas siya ng dalawang dancer is obviously matatabunan niya yung dalawang dancer. Di mo alam kung ano yung emphasis, is yung tinikling dancer ba or yung meme na kalabaw sa likod. Okay? Balance, obviously another principle of design, refers to the unity in a work of art that is dependent upon the balance between the harmony and variety. Balance is a feeling of equality in weight, attention, or attraction of the various elements. Balance suggests the gravitational equilibrium if a single unit in space or a pair of objects arranged with respect to an axis or a fulcrum. So obviously, ang balance is a unity between harmony and variety. Actually, yung dinidiscuss ko pa lang yung harmony and variety, I'm actually discussing balance na eh. Okay? So obviously, balance is not too much repetition and not too much variety sa work of art. Obviously, too much repetition, nagiging monotonous siya. Too much variety gives chaos to the work of art. Dapat balance lang. Okay? Yun. Very literal translation. So, tingnan natin yung the crucifixion here. Obviously, here is meron siyang harmony. Bakit? May repetition siya. May dalawang taong nakatayo sa gilid ni Jesus. Okay? Obviously, ang emphasis kasi dito si Jesus, nasa gitna siya at nakapoint dito yung mga tao, nakatingin dito. Okay? So, ang harmony dito is dalawang taong nakatayo kasi dalawa silang vertical line. Okay? At ang variety dito is yung taong nakaluhod. Okay? Isipin niyo na lang kung walang taong nakaluhod, too much monotonicity, mas lesser siyang appealing sa mata. Why? Because too much vertical lines ang nakikita niyo dito. Si Jesus at yung dalawang taong, ay yung mga taong nakapaligid kay Jesus. Pag ni-remove natin yung nakaluhod, magiging monotonous na siya. Okay? So, maganda ang balance dito. Position, okay, ito, dinidiscuss ko din to kanina sa inyo, refers to the position of objects, shapes, or colors in relation to a central axis, creates a feeling of balance or lack of it. Position also help us locate the significant area in the picture which stand out through contrast with other significant areas. These contrasts present forces with which counterbalance one another. Obviously, simple lang ang definition niya. Okay, position is siya madalas yung sabihin natin yung main focus, okay, ng work of art. Madalas napapansin natin yung position by using um, different color, okay, na hindi siya monotonous like the background. Tulad nito, yung look for virgin of the rocks is obviously ang central point dito ay yung focal point ng art na ito is yung um, more likely the Virgin Mary herself yung focal point. Okay. Meanwhile, obviously, since the Virgin Mary is the focal point itself, binigyan siya ng variety, yung dalawang bata. Okay. At para hindi din maging monotonous ang background, kasi ang background is more likely may cool colors, which is with color blue and green. Ang suot ni Virgin dito is green. So, binigyan siya ng variety ng batang naka-red. Okay? Mapapansin din natin na ang focal point ay si Mary because obviously ang kanyang cool colors is more intense than the green background or the brown rocks on the background. Okay? So mapapansin natin, obviously, position dito, binibigyan siya ng focal point or binibigyan siya ito yung parang sinasabi, ito yung tingnan mo, is because of the use of color, the position, okay, and of course, not too much design on the background. Pag sinabi ko not too much design here in the background, oo, madetalye ang paligid, pero hindi siya gumamit ng masyadong makulay, na kung saan matatabunan yung kulay ni Virgin Mary. Balance in connection with the position of contrast creates different forms of balance. It may be either be symmetrical balance or formal balance and asymmetrical balance or occult balance. So obviously, marami tayong uri ng balance. Okay? Obviously, ang isa dito is the symmetrical balance. Ito yung pinakaalam natin or formal balance. The most obvious type of balance, it is achieved by the use of identical compositional units on either side of an imaginary vertical axis within the pictorial space, or when one half of the work mirrors the image of the other half. Okay, tingnan natin yung picture dito sa right side. This is a symmetrical balance na kung saan pinapakita niya ang basic definition of harmony and variety. Harmony siya kasi exact picture po ang dalawang puno na nasa gitna. Nagkaroon siya ng variety by giving colors on the background. Isipin mo na lang kung white ang background, masyado siyang blunt. Okay? Hindi siya gaano appealing sa mata natin. Okay? So, symmetrical balance obviously is ito yung kanina ko pa dinidiscuss. Okay? Meron siyang sense of variety, meron siyang sense of harmony, okay? May balance ito, maganda yung position ito, at meron itong position or focal point. Okay, ito yung pinaka-basic symmetrical balance or formal balance. Okay, because of the identical repetition, it can often become quite lifeless and monotonous, except for its implication of stateliness, reserve, and dignity. So obviously, yung sinabi ko kanina, kung white lang yung background, magiging lifeless ito or monotonous ang symmetrical balance. So, paggagamit ka ng symmetrical balance, make use of the variety. Okay, kasi parang masyado ng structured ang symmetrical balance, so you have to be or you have to use variety. Another example dito is The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. Okay? Meron siyang symmetrical balance dito kasi exact po lahat ng kanyang sukat dito. Okay? Tingnan muna natin yung picture. Okay? Tingnan natin si Jesus. Okay? Actually, meron siyang tinatawag dito golden ratio. Ginamit niya kay Jesus dito. Or parang yung wave. Okay? Or yung parang snail. Snail of art. Okay? Na parang medyo not center si Jesus. Kasi dun, pagdating kasi sa positioning, dapat pangit daw ang angulo kapag nasa perfect center ang halimbawa focal point mo. Dapat medyo center siya pero not too much center. Yung parang position dito ni Jesus. Kung makikita niyo, 'di ba, ang position ni Jesus dito may guhit na white. Okay? Dito pinapakita na too much center is not a good thing. Okay? Gusto kasi ng artist or ito nag-work na sa photography na when you picture something or you paint something, dapat hindi siya nasa center. Okay? Nagkakaroon kasi ito ng feeling of structure or yun nga, monotonicity. Okay? Pero, di ba, ginamit dito ni Leonardo da Vinci yung code na yon, yung parang snail-like na mayroon sa certain sukat, okay, creating this symmetry. Okay? Ginamit din niya ito sa paligid niya kung mapapansin nyo. Okay? Yung distance, yung kulay yellow, is gumamit din siya dito na snail. Okay? Um, obviously, ginamit niya ang snail dito by showing the repetition. Okay, obviously may repetition dito, yung dalawang taong nag-uusap dito. Okay? At meron siyang balance. Okay, yung malayo yung isa. Okay. So, dito, obviously, iniiwasan niya dito magkaroon ng too much monotonicity. Okay? At the same time, look at naman yung nasa baba, yung tablecloth na kulay, yung nasa line of kulay blue. At yes, actually dito, kitang-kita agad natin na meron siyang exactness na ginamit dito, meron siyang balance na sinusunod, na ito lang ang size ng table, at ito lang ang size ng mga legs nito. Okay? At obviously, dito naman sa light blue na kulay sa left natin is meron dapat certain distance ang bubong sa tao. Okay? So, ang background, ang likod naman, obviously may sukat siya. Okay, meron siyang tawag dito, harmony. Okay? Dito sa taas is, obviously sa kulay red, is dapat ito lang yung sakto ng sukat ng design dito. Sa yellow, sa dalawang taas dito, nasa yellow, is meron siyang sinusunod na sizes. Okay, kung mapapansin nyo, hindi sila halos pare-parehas. Okay? Despite dito sa taas, hindi sila pare-parehas ng linya na sinusunod kasi ginawa ni Leonardo da Vinci yon para hindi masyadong monotonous ang art. Okay? Hindi siya masyadong monotonous. Obviously, dito sa taas, yung nasa left na nasa yellow squares at nandito sa right na walang yellow squares is actually parehas na sila. Okay? Parehas na sila, pero nilagyan ni Leonardo da Vinci ng gitna, okay, na hindi pasok sa same size ng nasa left at nasa right kasi he wants to put variety in it. Creation of Adam by Michelangelo, obviously gumamit siya ng snail. Okay? Snail, actually snail na yun, ito yung sinusunod. Okay? Ito yung sinusunod na mayroong certain distance ang isang bagay sa another para hindi magkaroon ng masyadong, alam ba yung very identical thing. Kasi pag napaka-identical ng dalawang bagay, halimbawa, pares sila ng posisyon, di ba, parang silang naglalaban na voltage 5 dito is, ang pangat tignan, okay, pero by putting like a snail-like quality, or ito ating sinasabing wave, okay, or golden ratio, when it comes to art, is, by putting a golden ratio here, is, meron siyang binibigay na monotonicity, okay, or harmony kasi merong focal point na kung saan nagka-clash yung dalawa, pero at the same time, meron itong variety because of the lesser size here on the left and the bigger size here on the right. Okay, another good example is the Whistler's Mother. Okay, ito obviously gumagamit pa rin ito ng golden ratio or ang snail or ang wave sa art. Okay? So, obviously kitang-kita nyo agad Ayan, I will not discuss it any further. Okay? So, ayun ang symmetrical or ang formal balance sa art. Meron man din tayong tinatawag na asymmetrical balance or occult balance. Ito yung sinatawag nating felt balance. Some artists resort to some kind of felt balance. It is obtained when the visual units on either side of the axis are not identical but are placed in position so equated as to produce a felt equilibrium. So obviously ito ay felt balance. Okay? Felt balance ito kasi walang exact na na sinusunod na balance dito, pero ang magaganda kasi ang paggamit niya ng harmony and variety dito, okay, na nagke-create pa rin ng pleasing sa mata, okay, hindi siya monotonic or hindi siya chaotic, okay, magaling ang pagkakagamit dito ng artist, despite not having a symmetrical balance, okay, pleasing pa rin ito sa mata. So actually, it's very important if you want to be an artist or you want to improve your or your art making style. If you study this principle of design. Okay? The principle of organization we have so far discussed are guide, not laws, that must be rigidly followed in the creation of works of art. They are not considered as end in themselves. However, it must be emphasized that these principles influence the organization of the elements and help bring about order and unity in the artist's design. Unity in the organization results from an interplay between harmony and variety. Harmony comes from the reconciliation between two forces in opposition which are balanced either symmetrically or asymmetrically. Transitional agents such as rhythm, emphasis, and subordination and proportion brings about the reconciliation of these forces.